Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is November 21st, Wednesday, the day before US Thanksgiving Day, and I am starting late and this is probably going to be a shorter experience. Basically what happened is for the past 24 hours I've been awake, well, that's not quite accurate. For 24 hours I was awake, programming, trying to automate the program, the actions of scheduling videos so that I don't have to spend nearly as much time on that. And I'm almost done there, so taking 24 hours or maybe 48 hours to make a automation macro program via JavaScript and a plugin that is by far the worst I've ever seen. As far as a programming compiler and language, but yeah, that's not too bad. Unfortunately, yeah, I was awake for 24 hours, and then it was about noon this afternoon, and I just went to sleep. You know, I knew had I tried to stay awake and stream at noon, I guess maybe I could have pulled it off, but I would have been really sleepy. Right now, I'm also kind of sleepy too, so. But just having one of those insomnia, bad sleep quality issues where it's disturbed sleep instead of lack sleep. I need to do the daily quests. I need to, I guess, do everything. Let's hop into the Tavern Brawl and start with that. Actually, man, I just looked at that. Oh man, and the screen's all screwed up now. Let's see, Hunter and Mage. We'll start with Hunter. Let's see, yeah, that fixed itself. I just hit the button too fast. Okay, so Hunter, jump in here. And then there's, in the process of programming things, I, on several occasions, typed in the hotkey to start recording, and I kept looking at my OBS, which was open, and going, why is this recording right now? So I have no idea how many hours or how many 5-minute sections of videos I might have of me just programming and doing nothing else. Magnetic sounds good, so let's get rid of some of these other ones. And yeah, I don't think we're gonna get all the games covered. Not a lot is happening. There's just a bunch of games that came out on Steam, so I'm gonna try and cover the news, but frankly I'm gonna aim for like a 2-hour stream at most. So let's just hop into the news because there's really nothing else I can talk about. I literally haven't done any recording, nor have I done any scheduling, so I'm putting all my eggs in one basket as far as this programming macro has to work. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble. And in all honesty, I'm not sure if it's really going to be worth the effort to use the macro for small single spotlight videos. But it definitely will save a lot of time. Let's see. This will definitely save a lot of time as far as just scheduling Hearthstone episodes, assuming everything works. Where I'm at right now is I'm about one step. I decided to add an extra step since we're automating it anyways, and because of that I'm about one step away from finishing being able to schedule a single video. And then it just boils down to, do I have everything set up to increment, because you have to increment the episode and you have to increment the day, and you have to increment the day based on Well, I actually made probably way too complicated a system on that, actually. I made it so that if an episode is airing on Monday, you can put any number of days to skip from that Monday. So if I wanted to make a series that only aired once every 30 days, like 30 days after a Monday, I could do that, but I guess that wouldn't really help too much. I think it probably needs to be reprogrammed. Some of this code is very quick and dirty, and it's a big issue of that is the programming language and the interface I'm using. The lack of functions and such. I could clean up the code quite a bit otherwise. But yeah, theoretically I should program it so it airs, so you could say air it every Monday instead of skip from a Monday to a specific number. By default, all I did is I put a 1 in everything, so like if something airs on a Monday, it goes to Tuesday. If it airs on Tuesday, it goes to Wednesday. And then what I can do is I can program Friday to skip Saturday and Sunday for a series that I only want to air on weekends. So I just change that from a 1 to a 3. But that's a date element, which means it has to know like what that breaks down to in an actual date, because if it rolls over a month and it's something airs on like the 31st of a month, and then you add 3, you can't type in the 34th of a month because there is no 34th of the month. It has to roll over, and thank goodness a lot of that is automated, to the next month. But yeah, it would be incredibly boring for me to talk about programming. And it did occur to me that it seems like once a year I get into 1 or 2 programming projects that I do, which is pretty nice for somebody who's not a programmer, and pretty awful if it was my job to be a programmer. Of course, if it was my job to be a programmer, I would be spending 8 hours a day on something every day. Let's start with the news. TechCraft has an article. 3 Square Enix mobile games are ending service soon in Belgium. Is this the same games that had already been announced? I think it is. Mobius, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts Union X, and the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Yeah. This is for the loot boxes in them and the Belgian anti-gambling laws. Not really a big deal. If a minion died this turn, so if I kill this minion, play this, play that. TechRaptor has another article. 3 Total War games get a definitive edition, and they are free to the base owners of the game. So people who own these Total War games, that would be Total War Empire, previously known as Empire Total War, Medieval 2, and Napoleon, have been upgraded on Steam with their respective definitive editions, each of which comes with all DLC previously released for the games. If you have any of these games on Steam, you'll get the definitive editions completely free of charge, regardless of how much DLC you already own or don't own. Which is a statement on how unvaluable a lot of DLC is, particularly later on. Inherently, that was always the issue with season passes, is that once they've got you in the pre-order and the the season pass, they can easily give you pretty poor quality products. Game of Sutra has an article here. NPD says skipping a single player didn't hurt the sales of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I imagine that is true. This is from the data group, NPD group. Like, in all seriousness, I doubt, I really doubt that it would have be reborn in the dark. Why do I keep summoning 1/1 copies of everything? I guess that's just the Tavern Ball we're playing. Interesting. So if I'm gonna summon 1/1 copies, I probably need to place a different character. I need to probably play a mage or something. Or Murlocs. Yeah, it totally makes sense. The thing I would say is it did hurt sales, but it didn't hurt sales in the grand scheme of things. I guess we'll try mage. If I can go the right place. You're gonna start seeing me make mistakes here. Like crazy. Like, I would have been more likely to buy Call of Duty's Black Ops 4 if it had a single player story. I am 0% likely to buy it if it doesn't have a single player story. But the truth is, I'm probably only like 5% likely to ever buy Call of Duty games anyways. And that 5% can easily be made up by people who were hardcore, like Gamer Bro multiplayer people.
The light shall bring victory.
Like, the problem with something like this is the numbers can easily be fudged several different ways. One of which being just ignoring the general growth of all of the number of gamers in existence. So, if certain games just sell as well as they have always sold. Let's see.
One shot, one kill.
Yeah. If Call of Duty, say, sold, if Call of Duty 3 sold 20 million units, let's say, just to pick a random number, and Call of Duty 4 sold 21 million units, they would say that was a success and that didn't cost them any sales. But if the average number of units that had increased between the time of Call of Duty 3 and Call of Duty 4 was actually 5 or 10 million units, then they actually did hurt their sales, but they're manipulating the data so it doesn't look that way. Let's just leave it there. Yeah, so there's always ways in economics to manipulate things. Okay, first game we have on Steam is called Warlords.io. It's clearly a low effort game. Apparently the Steam Awards are happening right now, so there must be a big sale at Steam. Like, I'm not joking, I just woke up, so I have not looked at any news or any sales. Yes, the autumn sale is happening, and it ends November 27th, so that gives me 6 days to decide what, if anything, I'm gonna buy. It would be nice if people would support my channel during this sale and friend me and gift me some games off the wishlist or whatever.
I'll give it a shot.
Let's see, let's just quickly scroll down here and see if there's... Well, on the storefront page, it doesn't look like there's any kind of clicker game or anything. It seems to just be around the Steam Awards thing. And then they've discontinued the Steam Link, and it's on sale for $2.50, but the shipping isn't free, so you're really still paying $5, like $10 in total, because you'd have to ship the thing to you. And inherently that's a little too expensive. Probably not, but it's a little expensive for something that I was just going to hack. Let's see.
I'll give it a shot.
So yeah, the autumn sale. I don't know when, but I would like to make an autumn sale special video. But I'm not sure that that's gonna actually happen. Like, I'm falling behind. I suppose what I've done here is I've traded off the extra time that I was looking for to make an outro for an extra time to program a scheduling. Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom pretty soon here, I can already tell, so I think I'm going to just try and go through all the news and then end this stream with a very short and brief video here. Like, I am gonna try and get all of the tavern brawls done. I might just do them off screen. In fact, I think I'll just have to do a lot of stuff off screen. Let's see. GameIndustry.biz has an announcement, has an article. Twitch announces TwitchCon Europe. The international expansion of the streamer sites community festival is slated for April 13th through 14th in Berlin. Okay. Let's see. GameIndustry.biz has a very critical article from their UK editor saying Ubisoft is pandering to unreasonable players because Ubisoft's decision to reverse the censorship and changes that they were doing for China to all the other versions of the game. Which is an opinion I completely disagree with. Like, it's very much a case of video game companies are creating art, and if there is nobody who wants that art, that's a problem. Let's see. If people don't like the art you're doing, then your product's not going to sell. People did not like the censorship. They are the customer. The customer is always right. I agree with the idea of not liking the censorship because it was unnecessary and ridiculous, as I personally believe almost all the censorship in China is. Ubisoft reversing that is a good move. It shows an ability to listen and change and respond to consumer demand. The idea that GameIndustry.biz is going to now put out a ridiculous gamers suck, gamers are toxic style of article just to attack gamers like so many mainstream video game journalists do is ridiculous and not something that's welcome, and it's not something that should be done. Not sure I'm ready to do that. It's not pandering at all. It's responding to an actual outcry. And it is totally cool to change your mind and change your opinion. I'm too sleepy right now to get into big of a rant though, so whatever. I noticed that Travis is on the chat. He says, hey Rydo, how have you been? I've been doing pretty good. Nice to hear from you again. Of course, you caught me on a bad day of being half asleep and in general in a poor mental state because of that lack of sleep.
Join me.
Let's see.
Join me.
Let's go ahead and kill this. There we go. Let's see. Travis said everyone I talked to today is tired. Same with me, haha. I'm just glad I have the day off. Yep. Well, I guess technically I didn't give myself the day off. I said earlier this week I had no intention of really changing my streaming schedule, and then I stupidly overslept my streaming schedule. As a YouTube creator who makes their own hours for the most part, with the exception of these streams, and can kind of, at the suffering of his own YouTube channel, can kind of do whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Can I light your
like, I'm probably the least reasonable person to complain about being tired. There's a lot of people out there working a lot harder and doing things that they are a lot what would be the right phrase? A lot less happy about the fact that they're doing. Like, there's a lot of people working a lot worse jobs than being a YouTube video content creator. That being said, being a YouTuber like me, a small-time YouTuber, it doesn't pay anything, so like I could be certainly bringing home at least a minimum wage instead of basically nothing. Well, this entire year it really has been 0 cents. Like, moving on. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article. Super.com launches a new funding program for Unreal Engine developers. A $50 million game investment from Super.com has launched a funding initiative aimed squarely at developers using the Unreal Engine. I've never heard of Super.com, but I guess if you are a Unreal Engine developer or want to be an Unreal Engine developer, this might be the place for you. Let's see. Super.com might be a site worth checking out. Let's see, and I'm just skipping all the games that came out and just trying to look directly at news. Gematsu has an article, what looks like a visual novel, see in a second, called Repkiss, R-E-P-K-I-S-S, is coming to Switch December 20th in Japan. Yeah, it's a visual novel. So no surprise there, another visual novel coming to the Switch. It's still slightly surprising that so many are coming to the Switch, at least in Japan. Okay. Now we'll see. There we go. What is kind of surprising is how many visual novels seem to come out for the Switch or the Vita, but don't come out to Steam, and still there's a ridiculously large amount of games of visual novels also on Steam. So, like, there's probably 20 a week coming out on average. And see, unless one of these codes was golden, nothing I can open in the classic pack really makes any sense. So it's going to be hard in the next expansion to make the justification to open any classic cards. I think we're going to hit a solid 50 packs or more of the new expansion, just because it would be kind of ridiculous to open anything else. Okay, so that's the Tavern Brawl done. Let's go and skip to the European account, because I'm just going to end up doing a lot of this off screen. Like, I'm too sleepy. This whole thing is going to fall apart. Travis asks, do you want to play a game or two? I have a new account, so if you get a friend request from me, well, I may have just gotten a friend request from him. Like, today I just disappoint you, because I'm gonna just rush and end this stream like in 20 minutes. This is gonna be an extremely short stream, so maybe Friday or some other day. Let's see, Hunter. It's like I'm just trying to burn through the news a little bit, and I think what I'll probably do is I'll go through all of the new games released on Steam too, and if it's just an absolute garbage game, I'm not even gonna talk about it, and I'll just close it. TechRaptor has an article. The Oculus VR is no longer not autonomous. It is now part of Facebook technologies. So it took Facebook quite a long time, I suppose, to having bought out Oculus for them to eventually just take over completely. But it was to be expected, most certainly. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article. A bug was found in the EA Origin client that could expose gamers' data. So, I imagine there will be a patch out eventually for the EA Origin client. Which will be funny, because I don't think I think I probably have that installed, but I probably haven't actually used it in over a year. Yeah, I want to point out this game on Steam, Case Opener Guns. This is another low-effort game from the same developer who made the exact same game where it was a armor and bows and arrows loot box opener game. A very low effort game. Be pretty easy to catch these too, if Steam just had somebody looking at everything that comes out. Jeez, I think I'm gonna win here just because this guy's not playing. Unity put a article on their blog that Unity has won its first Technology and Engineering Emmy Award. So, yay, I suppose. It was, I think, for a animated flick called Baymax Dreams, B-A-Y-M-A-X space Dreams. I guess Baymax is that character from that Pixar movie. So it must have been a short.
Quickly.
Let's just go ahead and do this.
Almost out of time.
So Unity is getting used more and more for the development of animated features on top of video games, which is good. There really should be like a standard issue. Travis said, okay, we'll get some sleep, man, and have a great Thanksgiving. You too, Travis. I think that's how we're probably going to have to wrap up this stream. It's just like everybody try to get some sleep and have a good Thanksgiving. GameIndustry.biz has an article, quote, I'd rather have bad reviews than no reviews. The creator of Conker's Bad Fur Day on the unforgiving task of promoting his latest indie game, which is supposedly the spiritual successor to Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now, what's weird about this is everybody knows the reason Conker's Bad Fur Day was created is because the developers at Rare wanted to get out of a contract with Nintendo, and so they were trying to do something offensive that they were hoping Nintendo wouldn't be willing to publish, and Nintendo published it anyways. The idea that one of the people who worked on that is now an indie developer and he's making a spiritual successor to Conker's Bad Fur Day means we've certainly gone full circle as far as just how that game was received, because now people think it's this like niche, like subversive great game, when in actuality I would say it's probably a pretty bad game that is just subversive in its themes only. So let's see if this says his name of the new game. So Chris Seavor, Seavor,
Rexar versus Garrosh.
Victory or death.
See what the name of the new game is. I don't know why you would make a spiritual successor to Conker's Bad Fur Day. I mean, it's not gonna work. It really isn't. Not unless you're going to bring back Conker that way, and I don't think that makes sense. And because I bet you he doesn't have the license to Conker. I bet Nintendo still does, or Rare does, which means Microsoft would own it. Now, I think the new game is called Rusty Pup. So, let's see. Yeah, I don't think that this joke of that joke concept that Conker's Bad Fur Day was playing in makes any sense now that there are so many just completely huge numbers of.
I wonder.
Let's see, we'll play this, do this, I'll do this. Yeah, the thing is, you could do a webtoon, you could do a small 5-minute indie game to do something like Mario's Bad Fur Bad Day, or let's see, magnetic poisons,
Access denied.
Yeah, I just don't know how that's gonna sell it. In a lot of ways, the spiritual successor to Conker's Bad Fur Day is very much like a new Leisure Suit Larry game. It's just not something that that really makes sense in a modern time. Does this really have a death rattle? No. Gamma Citra has an article. Here are your juries for the IGF 2019 Nuovo Visual Art and Audio Awards. So let's see if we can get it. The Nuovo Award, N-U-O-V-O, is... The Nuovo Award is intended as a celebration of more esoteric and artful games. Nuovo jury for IGF 2019 will include the following members: Benay Fadi from Getting Over It from Benay Fadi, SOS Sosky, he created Thelmite, Mech Pixel, and many other games you've never heard about. So this seems like this, in this instance, is
I wonder what this does.
It seems like it's a jury of actual video game creators, which is better than a jury of just video game reviewers, I suppose. Zoraida Butter, Z-U-R-A-I-D-B-U-T-R, is the playful culture curator of Zoli. Never heard of it. In fact, let's skip through these names and I'll just mention the people that seem recognizable. I suppose if it's the Independent Games Festival, it wouldn't be insane to assume that the entire juries will be independent game developers. They have Mark Eason, creator of he's the co-founder and creative director of the studio that made Nidhogg and Fly Wrench. The Excellent in Visual Arts Awards has a completely different jury. Let's see.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
I comply.
Let's see. Just scrolling through all these names. Yeah, as I'm looking at the names and what they've done, most of these independent devs haven't made games that are really even worth mentioning. Where there are like 1 out of 5 people have worked on a game that is an interesting independent developer. The other 4 have made things you've never even heard of. And so we are certainly having an issue of different game awards happening, with the Video Game Awards, CBS's Viewers' Choice Games Awards, and the Independent Game Festival Awards. So it's award seasons apparently for video game developers. GameIndustry.biz has an article. The Radiant Worlds has relocated to Radiant Worlds relocates as Rebellion Warwick transition completes. Oliver Twin Studios now in new premises purchased by parent company following acquisition earlier this year. They've moved into a new studio, and seems like they didn't even move locations though, really. Seems like they just got put in a different building. Interesting. Not much of a story though. That's very inside baseball. Here we have a game that came out on Steam called Monster Clicker Idle Halloween Strategy. Like, too little too late, November 20th. You're a full month late. You could have taken another year at this point and just had it come out around Halloween next year. Pretty ridiculous. And clearly not a good enough game to deserve to be on the wish list. And see, I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to look through a lot of these games and start closing things. Oh, doesn't seem like a ton of these are just obviously bad ones. Here we have a continuation of a terrible game that was covered by James Sterling. Hentai Shooter 3D Christmas Party is the Christmas version of the same terrible, assumedly stolen asset. Wolfenstein 3D clone looking worse than even Wolfenstein 3D style games. Let's see. I'm running into a couple of games, a couple of like Chinese games like this one that I can easily just close because it doesn't support English. But that's kind of all I can do. Let's see, where are we at this point? I need to play 21 more rogue class cards. I mean hunter class cards. So I get at least one daily quest off so that I can at least not run into a problem with missing a daily quest challenge. But yeah, I'm really trying to have as accelerated of an experience today as possible. I'm just not really surprising either. Like, see, this is inherently the problem of staying awake too long and missing that scheduled time, is that I'll probably be wide awake somewhere around 4 or 5 in the morning, and that's no time to stream. Nobody would want that. So had I stayed awake at noon when I'd been awake for 24 hours, maybe it would have been slightly better, but it really wouldn't have been much better. But going to sleep also doesn't help because having insomnia for me means having poor quality of sleep, which means it takes me 3 or 4 hours to then become mentally alert. So you can imagine how effective I was when I was going to school, when I was woken up at like 6 in the morning, and it would take me until like 10 in the morning to even be mentally alert. And then by the time it hit about 2 in the afternoon, I was sleepy again. Like, I never really slept in class, but I should have. Like, if I could, I would have, but I didn't trust the students or the teachers that much to not pull some kind of prank or something. Let's see, we can do this. Commencer has an article. The Blaze Blue series turns 10 years old. They will they have teased a new title. So when it comes to fighting games, that's an entire decade for the BlazBlue. BlazBlue fighting series, whereas I suppose Street Fighter is probably 20 or 30 years old, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But it is certainly a momentous occasion, I would say. Something worth celebrating. Yeah, November 20th, 2008, BlazBlue Calamity Trigger was released in arcades. And since then, a ton of other BlazBlue games have come out, whether on Steam or some other service. Let's see. See, I'm just scrolling through the games looking for bad ones. I think I've found one here in Elite Archery. Looks like it's a very basic asset flip for an island and some Roblox characters shooting arrows at each other. A modern visual appearance of a very basic, actually programmed in basic game back when it was called Gorillas. Or Worms World Party or anything. This is way too simplistic even for 60 cents. It's not what a modern video game is expected to be. Alright, if we do this, and we do this, we can do that, and that. Gamasutra has an article. Niantic has partnered with the United Nations to boost tourism using augmented reality games. Niantic being the creator of Pokemon Go and Ingress. I also believe Niantic, at least at one point, was owned by Google or Alphabet, wasn't it?
You have better.
I thought it was, but I don't see any mention of that. Slightly interesting idea, I suppose, although I'm sure it's not very much the UN's focus to boost tourism in museums as much as it is accomplishing several other things. Let's see. Gematsu has an update to their article, World End Syndrome coming to the West for the PS4 and the Switch in spring of 2019. It's another, it's a mystery visual novel. Let's see what the update was. World End Syndrome will be digitally only as far as the release in the West. So, no big surprise there. I don't suppose visual novels and other digital only styles of games are going to push us towards a world of all digital games, though. Like, there will be other factors by far, and we very well may get to that point. It's just gonna take a matter of it being done right. Like, I suppose since all my games are on Steam, I'm already at a digital only world, and it's not terrible because I trust Steam. If Steam screws me over, then it becomes a huge nightmare. Let's see. Here we have a game on Steam called Cattle Call Hollywood Talent Manager, which looks pretty low effort in its animation and its user interface. I assume what this is going to come down to is it's eventually going to be like a casting couch element, like where you're trying to sleep with these actors or actresses who are trying to make it big. If that's not the case, then this is just a boring simulation. Either way, it looks pretty bad. 79 cents discounted, so like I guess I'm a little bit biased there in the sense that I really wouldn't want to play a game as a talent manager in Hollywood. Not just because it's somebody else's job and doing a job where playing a game where you're doing somebody's job is always inherently uninteresting to me, but because of just the sleaziness or skeeviness of what goes on in Hollywood. Let's see. Health to 1, attack to attack.
I hunt alone.
With that. There's a game on Steam called Space Toad's Mayhem, which looks like an Asteroids clone. It's not visually appealing with this deep red menu bar at the bottom. That is just really badly animated. Yeah, that looks awful as far as just the color palette. $3.39 discounted, yeah. See, I'm skipping a lot of games. I'm trying to just cover a small selection here of generally bad games. So if it's even slightly possible that a game is good, I'm skipping over it.
Give that minion a turn to get ready. I hunt alone.
I'm closing a lot of TechRaptor articles that are just talking about games that are about to come out. Got a ton of tabs open still now.
This was not in my contract.
See, I'm just not even awake enough, as I went quiet there, I'm just not awake enough to even really have a critical eye on what these games are. And it's not that hard to be critical of games that are on Steam. And the vast majority of them are terrible. For instance, this game 32 clearly is terrible, low effort game at 69 cents. So yeah, that can be removed.
I hunt alone.
This game, Ralph, on Steam, looks very solid colors here. It's a generic platformer game. Kinda MS Paint graphics. Yep, not good enough. Yep, so yeah, I can take that off the list. Gotta end the turn. Gotta be careful. Right, is this enough? 1, 2, 3. There. So I should win next turn. We have a game here called Extractor Defender, which is a tower real-time strategy, it says. It looks like garbage to me. So we can close that tab.
I greet you.
Let's see. There we go.
Well, greetings,
Up to rank 20. And see, that I think puts us in a position where we've gotten several things done. So yeah, we got one thing done, and yeah, if I just play again, I'll get 2 things done, and that'll leave me good for Friday. TechRaptor has an article. Oakwood looks like a survival game in a spooky Jurassic Park. That sounds like an interesting idea. Oakwood will be coming out for Steam on December 4th, so I'll see it when it comes out. Gamasutra has an article. Get a job. Join the Digital Extremes team as an environmental artist. That's in London, Ontario, Canada. If you're interested, I think a lot of these job listings have been the same job listings for a long time. Yeah. TechRaptor has an article. Dragon Marked for Death has been delayed. A physical release is coming. Dragon Marked for Death is an interesting one because it has this very cool, to my eye at least, art aesthetic. I guess I don't have to just describe it, but it really is just like a basic dungeon crawler from what I recall. So yeah, let's just show it off. So this thumbnail looks really cool with its art anime style and kind of Halloween anime style, but I believe the actual game is, if there's a screenshot here, no. The actual gameplay is actually pretty disappointing. It's like a Switch game too. Alright, let's see.
I wonder.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer and it's just a standard anime opening style trailer. Magnetic Rush or Death Rattle. So if I play this,
I wonder what this does.
do this, and then do this. Might as well get out here and kill that too.
Job done.
Yeah, I'm still just watching an anime intro. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a JRPG, but I thought it was a dungeon crawler. I definitely remember being rather disappointed by what it actually was. Yeah, that trailer didn't show me anything. Let's see if we can see it. It is a dark fantasy RPG, it says. Okay, well, it's been delayed. Hopefully it's not being delayed because of some PlayStation censorship issues or anything like that. On this PlayStation censorship issues, at least one of those games that was censored with the blindingly bright white light over everything that Sony found objectionable. They did put out a patch to just put more clothing over the people. So I suppose that was a temporary solution to bring to light the problem, but yeah, it's still an issue, an underreported issue, in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah, having a sale go on right now on Steam is not super helpful. There you go. Win streak bonus. I should stick around and continue the win streak and see if I can get up to rank 18 or so. Might as well. We have this game on Steam called Diamond Love. It looks like an RPG Maker, low effort game. So obviously I can take that off the wish list. I'll close the tab. Let's see. I think we've already talked about this, but GameIndustry.biz has an article. Ex-Remedy CEO opens a new Helsinki studio called Red Hill Games. This is he brought together a development team from the companies such as Wargaming, Guerrilla Games, and Starbreeze Studios, which is probably not to say a lot about anything, frankly. It really doesn't mean much. TechRaptor has an article. Valve discontinues the Steam Link hardware. No big surprise there. I wouldn't be surprised by this time next year if there is a new Steam Link hardware solution out, in that they were just trying to empty their storage facility. They probably ordered far too many. Valve has an in-house hardware development company now that they're using to make mini iterations on a VR headsets and VR controllers. I wouldn't be surprised if they at some point gave them some extra time to make a
Access denied.
To make a new Steam Link device. Because certainly what's not the case is Steam Link hasn't been integrated into TVs, and that would be what you'd really want it to happen. And that's not going to happen for a while. Alright, let's see. Do this.
Deploying countermeasures.
And this. Job's done. Let's see, it's been an hour, and that's pretty much all I want to go with. We have a game on Steam called Absinthe. Dark Screenshot Syndrome horror game. I guess I'll put this on the follow list, though. We'll just see what the reviews say on some of these horror games. I'm not really in the mental position to make a decision otherwise. Alright, can we do this? And do this.
I wonder what this does.
Deploying countermeasures.
We have a game on Steam called Age of Civilizations 2 that's rated very positively already. Normally I wouldn't put this on the follow list, but the fact that it's already positive, you know what, I think no. This looks way too boring of a game. It seems like this is probably a hardcore war historical simulator game that's not for the likes of me. It's for really hardcore fans. Alright.
Ooh,
We do this.
I wonder what this does.
And we do this.
Deploying countermeasures.
Gamma Sutra has an article how Umihara Kawase began as two separate prototypes. Umihara Kawase is a Japanese platforming game that's on my wish list. It's sort of popular. It's had 3 games in the series. You play as this like Japanese girl who's swinging via fish hook from platform to platform. So it does have some historical relevance, but it is also some
Wonder. Access denied.
Not on my watch.
Decided to follow. I'm gonna follow Sid Alpha, or on Twitter he calls himself Sid Toxic Consumer Advocacy Alpha and Omega. Sid Alpha is a growing YouTuber that I've recognized. He's that covers more of the actual news and accusations, maybe a little bit of a drama style of YouTuber, like all YouTubers are pretty much. But okay, if I do this, I could do that. Yeah. That. Son of a. That sucked. We have a game on Steam called Scrapper First Strike. It looks good enough to at least make it to the follow list. I think in days like this I'm going to end up adding so many things to the follow list that I'm going to have to just sort through the follow list a lot more often. That becomes a consistent issue. So we hit that one. That gives them 3 back. We hit this, 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 that. Win streak bonus bumps us straight to where we should go. And if it were any other day, I wouldn't break the streak. I would leave the streak going. But that gets all of our daily quests on the Asian account done, and we did get the Tavern Brawl done. Well, that was the European account. Now we're going to the Asian account. So let's launch this. We have a game on Steam called Pixel Drawing. It's a very low effort, you know, simplistic single screen Unity game. Something like this definitely doesn't deserve to be on the follow list.
Where have your journeys taken you?
Apparently I haven't logged in a couple days. So we have Mage, and if I re-roll this, we should be alright. paladin class cards. So if I can just get a victory on the Tavern Brawl with a mage, I should be good. We can get close to wrapping up. I have a game on Steam called Pro Basketball Manager 2019. Maybe I'd want to play a manager game at some point in the future, but I think I can easily say 2019 won't be the year, so yeah. Let's see. We have a cat puzzle game, very low effort game. Cat slide puzzle, like so many of these exact same games on Steam, flooding the marketplace. Let's see. I don't even know what I'm playing, so I'll just leave it there. Yeah, we have a game on Steam called Cumples, which I have no idea where that name's coming from, but it looks like it's a very low effort Terraria clone. Well, no, I need to stop using the phrase very low effort when I can just say bad Terraria clone. So if we play these, I guess we can put a couple in his deck. Let's see, we have a game called Sticky Bots, which seems like it's just a Smash Brothers racing Gianna Sisters style game. Yeah. It doesn't look like there's anything here that would interest me. Actually, I guess there aren't too many things that even came out. Let's see. Do I want to play this? Job done. We have a platformer on Steam called Emerald Shores. It'd be questionable if a platformer would make it onto the wish list. And yeah, I don't think this one's gonna do it. Well, you know what? This one actually is doing several different art styles. So there might be something worth looking at here. So I'll put this one on the fall list. Like, I think we are gonna have to have like a monthly cleanup of the fall list at this point though. Let's see. Let's draw cards, I guess. Job done.
What? They fell off a truck.
Next we have a game on Steam called Seek Love, which looks like it's a pretty simplistic game. A lot of interface here that makes it look like a cell phone game. Seems like it's sort of a puzzler, or some sort of puzzler with some Super Meat Boy style platforming, which I certainly can't abide playing Super Meat Boy platforming stuff, so this game seems like it would be knocked off for several different separate reasons. Deal 2 damage to a minion if it's frozen. Random enemy secret.
The light does not discriminate.
Job's done.
guess if I play... Can I do this? 15 to a minion and 3 to the adjacent ones.
Light it up. Light it up.
There we go. Here we have a game on Steam called Aim Master, which looks like it's a very basic shooting style game. Is this VR? No. Like, that all aiming isn't just looking down the sights of a gun, by the way. This looks like it's one of those fake games that says it's a trainer when it isn't. And it's probably trying to sell some kind of cheating software, I would bet. It's trying to drag you away, I think, to another website. Next we have a game on Steam called Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2019. Again, being a football manager, maybe I'd play a manager game, but not in 2019. Like, I'd have to really be scraping the bottom of the barrel to want to play one of those games. Let's see. Let's trade these two. Here we have a game on Steam called Tale of Fragmented Star Single Fragment version. It's some kind of VR anime game. I imagine you're just dealing with this anime character and that's kind of it. And she's just doing things and interacting with you. Yeah, you know, for a VR game, I don't think this is the kind of game I'd want to even have on the follow list, because inherently I think it is just a bad VR game that they put an anime character in, and there's better companionship style. Yeah, let's really screw them. Let's do this. This will be amazing. Now it will take him forever to play a minion. Of course, it will take me forever to play a minion also. Yeah, it really doesn't look like there's much of a game here for Tale of Fragmented Stars.
I did this. I cursed them all.
Yeah, that's not interesting enough. See, I think this is good enough now. Like, let's open this pack and then go back to the America's account and just double check. But then I think we're gonna wrap up here. There is undoubtedly like 20, ooh, an epic, 20 more games I could look at and talk about, certainly, but I can save those for Friday. I bet not that many games come out anyways. Let's see, are all 5 of these cards? No, 4 of these cards are getting turned into 20 dust, which tells me there's some new ones. I would say, just as a quick catch up to Artifact, it seems like Artifact in the conversation realm has kind of died down. I think everybody's kind of made up their mind at this point, or they're gonna wait and withhold judgment for a longer amount of time. So yeah, there's no big call for outrage still going, in my opinion, as far as Artifact. I think people realize it's super expensive, and once they heard it, everybody was like, they're out.
You're back. Come tell us
Here we have a
story,
game
you
on
two.
Steam as this is loading called Beating a Dead Horse with a One-Trick Pony. Looks like it's an asset flip game. Oh, it looks really, really pretty. Like, I guess I could think about putting this on the wish list, but I don't think so. I think this really is probably just a walking simulator. Yeah, you know what? I'll put it on the fall list just in case people come back and say it really is actually interesting. Okay, we need to play some priest cards. Still. So we could probably play Spiteful Priest, play all night, and finish the last couple of games in one episode. Here we have a game on Steam called Reynard, which looks very much like a Zelda game, so I'm interested in that, certainly.
Anduin
Like,
versus
this may be good,
Anduin.
it may be bad, but I can put it on the
Light
fall
shall
list and we
bring
can
victory.
see.
Light smiles upon the just.
Let's see what we want to get rid of. Let's get rid of that one, and that one. We have a game on Steam called DX Ball 20th Anniversary. It looks like an Arkanoid game. If this really is like a 20th anniversary of a game called DX Ball, which it might be, it still doesn't kind of matter. Like, it's just an Arkanoid clone. If I was gonna play an Arkanoid game, I would play Arkanoid. Let's go ahead and end the turn. So yeah, I'm not even gonna bother putting that on the list. See if I play that, I'll just die, so just end the turn. We have a game on Steam called TAL Jungle, which looks like just a simplistic line puzzle game, line maze game. Nothing interesting there. Theoretically, I need to go to sleep like right now, but that's not gonna happen. Like, this is where people with insomnia would certainly take pills and try to fall asleep, and that's when you start going down the path of potentially getting addicted to sleeping pills. And that's why they generally don't want to prescribe them. But yeah, of course I've gone the other direction many times. I've drunk 5-hour energy drinks when I should have gone to sleep instead and tried to gain another 5 hours, and sometimes that works, but it usually comes back like threefold upon you. It's basically a magic potion that will heal you 10 health points now and take away 30 health points later. But of course, being a real world possibility. Let's see, we've got this game on Steam called Over Dungeon. It's mixed right now. Early access $14.99. It looks like it's a card-based RPG of some sort. Seems to be kind of all over the place. So, I don't know if there's in-game purchases. That's something I've started to realize and start to look for, is just, do these games have in-game purchases? See, there's this character, but I don't know how much that character really plays as far as a role. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like it's like a roguelike card game, dungeon crawler style of craziness. Yeah, it just seems like it's...
Move quickly.
Oh, I'm supposed to be playing over here.
Your magic shall not save you.
Shells up!
Yeah, I have no idea if this is a good game or not. It's probably not. But I'll check. I'll keep it on the follow list. Yeah, it seems like at this point there just needs to be a monthly let's look at the follow list and look at games that fell off the follow list because they're negative episode. Let's see.
Jade Serpent guide you.
Well, where's this one?
Let me change your mind.
Job's done.
Steal his panda bear. We have a game on Steam called Dragon Scales 5: The Frozen Throne, which looks like it's a match 3 game. Doesn't look particularly great as a match 3 game, but it's hard to really judge these games too, so I'll be generous and put it on the follow list and see what people who actually play it say. Okay. This.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
And this.
Obey.
Job's done.
We have a game on Steam called Cult of the Glitch King, and some severe dark screenshot syndrome here for what looks like an RPG maker from what little I can make out here. Yeah. This definitely doesn't deserve to be considered when you make such terrible screenshots to sell your game. Next we have a game on Steam called Watch Family, which is just a direct ripoff of a joke game that had already been made, where the character is trying to look at porn and his family keeps barging in and spotting him, which even that game was a direct ripoff of What's Under Your Blanket joke game. Like, seriously, one of those games as a joke made sense. Now it doesn't really it doesn't make any sense at all. Even if this is a better polished version, which it very possibly is since they've taken probably a year extra to make it, it's still not to the level of where it should be. It's not to a level where a game should be if it's going to be played. I need to cast more spells. So yeah, I don't think Watch Family needs to be on the wish list. A lot of these joke games too, it makes sense if you're a streamer who's playing new games all the time and you're getting them for basically free, or it doesn't matter because you're making so much money. For a small-time YouTuber, buying a joke game doesn't make a lot of sense. I need to play the Paladin cards. So you play that. And do that. And in return, Next we have a game on Steam called Indian Summer, which looks like it's some kind of puzzle game. It's pretty messy here. I can't really tell what this is, but you know, I'll put it on the follow list and see if people like it as a puzzle game. It's kind of hard for me to tell. I need to zoom in a little bit more and look at it. I think my eyesight's getting worse these days. Man, and I only played 4 priest cards in that game. Well, we might as well just keep on going. At least until we finish the games. We have a game on Steam called Beer Bar, which looks like an RPG Maker. Simplistic. It's not even really an RPG Maker style game. It's probably just the art assets from RPG Maker that makes it look like that. It seems like you stay in the same bar and you're just acting as a waiter or waitress. Let's see, I'm gonna trade out this and play these. So yeah, of course that game's not good enough. Like, I haven't seen anything amazingly interesting, which is no surprise. Like, why would there be a really good game that came out on Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week in the United States? It's just too close to the end of the year. It's too close to Black Friday when people are buying other things. It's too close to several other things. That being said, we have this game on Steam called Storm Boy, which looks amazingly good. I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of just an adventure, maybe even mostly a walking simulator. I wouldn't be surprised if you're mostly just walking from the right to the left. Well, you're on a ship, but you might just be pressing quick time events or something. So yeah, this will go on the follow list. Well, we'll keep an eye on this. This looks animated really well, so maybe it was animated as a video instead of a
Medicine insects.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's animated. It was originally animated to be like a animated short, and then they turned it into a video game. That might be the case, maybe not. Next we have a game on Steam called Nelson and the Magic Cauldron. I can feel myself slightly waking up, but that doesn't mean I want to continue streaming. This is a point-and-click adventure game, and I'm a sucker for point-and-click adventure games, so I'll put this on the follow list and we'll see how the reviews play out. And this would do 3 damage to everybody. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do this instead. And hit that. And heal that for more cards. Next we have a game on Steam called Rogue Rails, which looks like it might be a little simplistic, like an on-the-rails platformer and shooter, but maybe not. Like, this might be kind of cool as an idea. It's probably not implemented well, but I'll put it on the follow list and see if it does turn out to be surprising. The idea of spending an entirety of a game on a rail cart switching between tracks in a roguelike game. Just need to play all of these priest cards. Yeah, so looking here, does seem like you are in a roguelike game on a railroad doing boss fights, jumping and shooting. It's an interesting idea. It's the kind of idea that I would say is very possibly better off
Let me change your mind.
if it was a small section of gameplay instead of the entirety of a game, but it may still work.
Stone never yields.
Next we have a game on Steam called EXE Mainframe. Looks like it's a top-down twin-stick shooter with a lot of neon bright explosions that irritate me and just a lot of stuff going on the screen. A standard game designed to look flashy and not really that fun. Like, yeah, this is not the kind of game I want to play. Particularly at this angle. That angle is terrible. That's a really, really bad angle for a top-down twin stick shooter. Okay. How can we do this? We can't, so we do this. And we do this. And then we do that. Next we have a game on Steam called Time Splatter, which is just asset flips and a first-person shooter. You can see it's just a random assortment of garbage, zombies, medieval knights. Just they're using the idea that time is messed up. Let's see. This is clearly trying to name itself to sound like Time Splitters. But clearly it's not anywhere close in quality.
Your magic shall not save you.
Preserve us!
Yeah, the Time Splatter's not making it to the list. Let's see.
I'm warning you. I'm unstable.
Need to not focus so much on Hearthstone. Okay. Play this.
Awaken, my children.
Heal. Attack.
Obey.
Next we have a game on Steam called Evidence of Life, which looks a little too pixely, a little too much like Terraria. Yeah, there's nothing here that really looks good enough to deserve to make it to the fall list. So we have about 5 more games. Next we have a game on Steam called Protocol. From the screenshot, it looks like something I want on the follow list, but from the mixed reviews, I'm not so sure. So, it says it's an adventure game and a sci-fi. Let's see.
By the elements combined.
Let's see. So this might be a good game, it might not. I think what I'll have to do is just put it on the follow list and see what's going on, because like it looks very visually appealing, but yeah, I've like no idea whether it's actually a good game or whether it's just a couple of asset flips. I bet it's a couple asset flips.
Job's done.
Moving on, I suppose. Next we have a game on Steam called Skinny. Skinny is a weak horror game. Interesting, the idea of describing it as a weak horror game. I like kind of this voodoo logo. I don't know if that's a weapon you use or what. I guess it is a weapon you use. Early access, $2.59. I'll put it on the follow list and see what people say. Okay.
Pinch of death cup, heel of shoes.
Next, we have a game on Steam called Snailians, which is maybe a good game. Maybe. It looks like it's got some polish on it. The idea of fighting snails and what looks like a VR first-person shooter game might be interesting. The might being the emphasis there, so yeah. Just put it on the follow list and we'll see. I guess I've figured out how to not make any decisions. Just how to put off decisions 101 is what I'm doing by putting so many things on the follow list. But it's so much easier to make a decision once you have games that are rated mostly negative compared to a game that has no reviews. So ideally, I'd like to look at games like 2 weeks after they'd come out, or a month after they'd come out, but there's not really a way to do that. At least not that I can think of. Okay. So how are we gonna do this? Right. If I kill that one and that one and then heal myself, I can make it to the next turn. Next we have a game on Steam, Don't Forget Our Esports Dream, which says it's a simulation RPG, but I would say it's probably a visual novel. Doesn't look terrible though. Like, I bet this is not actual gameplay at all, but maybe it is. Maybe there's something here that actually does make it like a simulation real-time strategy type game. So yeah, I'll check it out. We'll keep an eye on it. I've got to figure out a better phrase than just I'll put it on the follow list. That's super repetitive.
Job's done.
Next we have a game on Steam called Trinity VR. There's a lot of detail in this image and a lot of details here. It doesn't look right. None of the screenshots look right. They're all bent and curved. Like they couldn't even get their screenshots right. I don't know. Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it, but I think if you can't make a screenshot correct for Steam, you probably didn't make a good game. Yeah, I'd assume people that can make games can make screenshots. Okay, in that. So you have like 5 more games. We have a game called Quiet as a Stone, which looks like it might be a walking simulator, it might be a puzzle game. Again, it looks pretty enough, even though it's almost certainly all asset flips, that I'll keep an eye on it. It almost seems like you would, in this walking simulator, have to walk around and find stones that like hummed or made sound. Do I want to kill a character or let myself lose? Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on Quiet as a Stone. And I'm being rather generous. Next we have a game on Steam called Flying Metal Suit, which is another VR game where you're just playing as Iron Man. So the general concept here is you're playing as Iron Man in some kind of racing parkour game that's going to make you motion sick. I'd like to keep an eye on this game just to see if people can actually do that. Play a game like this, or if this is gonna just make everybody incredibly motion sick. Next we have a game on Steam called Strike Force Remastered, and it's might be a remaster of an older game, might not. But inherently, Strike Force isn't in the top 10% of first-person shooters. It's a multiplayer, mostly focused game. So for me, it doesn't need to make it to the wish list, because I'd never buy it and I'd never play it. Next we have this game called Granny, which is a horror game that I was thinking I'd be generous about, but now that I've woken up a little bit more and looking at it, I'm realizing the graphics look horrible. This is another one of those terrible horror games. There's no reason in the world that this should be on the follow list or the wish list. And then that leaves us with our final game on Steam. We have a game called Element Space, which looks like a top-down twin-stick RPG tactical game, like a Diablo style game, or an XCOM style game. I guess it's an XCOM clone. There's a lot of those. Early access, $13. We'll put it on the follow list and see what happens. And then that puts me back at Twitter, and I have like 16 new tweets, which is not any real big deal. Certainly, because if I know I have just 16 new tweets, there's like 3 not worth mentioning until Friday games. And where are we here? Need to play like 5 more priest cards. So yeah, I guess we can get into one more game. I'm just gonna push it. As I'm going through these tweets. I'm not gonna lie, there's a good chance that on Friday we're not gonna have much of a stream either. It may just be like I may just come on for like 5 minutes and say, hey, happy Thanksgiving, hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and that's kinda it. Like, yeah, and I know in general it would be better for me to actually do standard streams. It's just like, I don't think that's gonna work for me. I know that the people that don't want to have 100% of their Thanksgiving week off, that if they're in the United States, a lot of people don't want to spend all that time with their family, and they would like to find some distractions. Particularly if you're not into watching Thanksgiving Day parades and football. There's literally nothing on TV, so I should be counter-producing towards that. Certainly that's where I also came from, in my perspective, is just a lot of a lot of nothing, a lot of free time. But yeah, I'm not expecting that Friday's stream will be particularly long
In the
either.
light's name.
We have like 5 new games that we can talk about, so we might as well talk about them while we're playing this. And
Tortola, preserve us!
so, first we have a game on Steam called Witch Action, which looks like these are characters. Seems like they were stolen directly from the concepts of Magical Madoka, which it's not exactly the drawings from that, but it looks very much like the 2 characters. And let's see, let's come over here and play for a second. It seems like all this game is it's using the anime characters to sell a very bad racing top-down shooting game. Just total garbage. And I want to talk about anatomically incorrect. There we go. This is probably a cheap Chinese game if I was to guess, but it might be a Japanese game. There's such thing as cheap Japanese games. But just the number of Chinese people versus the number of anybody else causes the amount to be skewed. Next we have a game called URO, which looks like it's a rhythm game with some anime girls, chibi anime characters. Let's see how this actually plays. Like, it's probably the intro. So you're racing, and there's this line, and you're supposed to what, like headbutt the let's see, just do this.
Out of my jungle!
Yeah, it seems like you're really just hitting a button when something matches. Okay, can I take this? Darn it. Should have killed that first. Yeah, this game Euro, I don't think it's for me just because I'm not into rhythm games. And it looks pretty repetitive as far as it seems like you're just doing the same infinite running always until you get to like 100%, and then maybe the background changes slightly and when you do a different song, but that's kind of it. Let's see, just trying to play 5. Let's see, hit that. I played that wrong. Next we have a game called The Choice of Sand, which looks like it's a differently animated Diablo RPG style game. But the way it's animated, I'm not sure it's really an art style as much as it is a lack of ability. It's English and simplified Chinese. I think this is a cheap Chinese game, honestly. I really think it is. So yeah, I'll put it on the fall list. I'm going to be extremely generous and put it on the fall list. And see what happens from there.
Extraordinary.
Okay.
Well played.
And Let's see, apparently I'm about to lose.
I've got the beast in my sight.
Next we have a game called Robert Rodriguez The Limit, an immersive cinematic experience, which looks like it's a full motion video, not really game as much as it is just a couple of video clips. Not sure this really qualifies as a game, but I'll put it on the follow list on the right side of generosity. And I still need to play like three freaking priest cards. Let's see. Waterboy asks how much money you got. How much money do you have on Steam? On Steam? 13 cents. I have like 13 cents in my Steam wallet, so if that's what you're asking. So I don't know why that's gonna help anybody or be useful information for anybody, but I'll tell you, yeah, I got like 13 cents in my Steam wallet, and I'm asking people to support my channel by friending me on Steam and gifting me games off my wish list. If you're asking how much I've spent on my Steam account because I have a lot of games, I have no clue. Like, I haven't been keeping account. I would imagine over the course of 4 or 5 years of building it up, I've probably spent over $600 on it, which isn't too much for me, but certainly is a lot of money. Yeah, if you budget it down to a couple $100, $200-300 a year, it's not terrible.
You are the Shadow's puppets.
But Gamatsu has an article. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT Free Edition is now available in Japan, so you can play some of Dissidia Final Fantasy NT for free. I don't think you can play all of it. So that and that should be enough cards now. And then that means I've covered so now I can just kind of finish this and move on.
Right away.
Also, if you happen to have some Steam keys from some other source and you want to gift those games, some duplicate Steam keys from like the Humble Store or some other place, that you can send those through Twitter direct message. Also, you can support me for as little as $1 on Patreon, which would be very much appreciated. A consistent $1 would be nice over say just $12 once a year. But you know, that's everybody's budget. Let's see. Looking at Humble Bundle, speaking of Humble Bundle, the Jumbo 12 bundle is here. So for $1 you can get Steam keys for a game called Pinstripes, Super House of the Dead Ninjas, and Super House of the Dead Ninjas True Ninja Pack, and the game Rise and Shine. I don't believe I own Rise and Shine, so I might spend $1 on that. If you spend more than the average, which is $4.99 right now, you can get Project High Rise, Construction Simulator 2016, and Battleship Brigade, which Battleship Brigade I want to get on my Steam account. And if you pay $10, you also unlock Dirt 4 and Oriental Empires. I think Dirt 4, while it's mixed reviewed on Steam, might be something worth considering. Also, of course, the Steam sale is happening right now. Oh, that was stupid. I could have healed the character first and not died. Let's see. What else do they have as far as bundles? They have an RPG Game Dev bundle, which is a mix of RPG Maker and other things. Like just looking at this bundle, it's easy to see where half of these asset flip games that come out on Steam get their art from.
I must consider.
I don't know what you could do about that other than to say Steam should have all of the images, Valve should have all of those images from these art bundles scanned into a database that will then scan all the images of screenshots to see if your games actually are using assets, and then potentially look at games more in detail. The Humble Dystopian bundle still has 5 days and 15 hours. So there's like 3 bundles of games right now in the Humble Bundle store. If you want to try and save some money that way. Ooh, Tech Raptor has this article. I'd forgotten about this one. Kingdom Hearts 3 might be censored in China because, and this one is really silly, somewhere in China it got said that the Chinese president slash dictator, as all presidents really are, let's just face it, and man, I've called like 2 people dictators this week, and I don't think I'm flying anywhere internationally anytime soon. Anyways, there's this spread that said that the Chinese president looks like Winnie the Pooh. Apparently they found that offensive, so now Winnie the Pooh is getting censored from everything in China. And there was an ad for Kingdom Hearts 3 that had Winnie the Pooh in it, and when some of the Chinese media talked about it, they actually censored out Winnie the Pooh. Which is just the latest in a long list of overly censored things. Like ridiculously overly censored things in China. See, we've gone about 2 hours, and so this will be our last game. This has worked well enough to set us up for Friday. I'm glad that I have finished the Steam wishlist cleanup, so now I feel a lot more confident. If a game is on my wishlist, I really want to cover it, so nobody is in a position where they're likely to accidentally gift me something that I'm not even interested in covering, which was the problem before. Also, I've put a significant number of things in the ranked order at the top, so those are the games that I really want to cover. Things like Myst 3 and Myst 4, for example, or Return of Oberdin, things like that. I could go on, but so yeah, that's a good system. Now, if the person who was asking me how much money I have in Steam it was gonna try and beg me for money, yeah, right. Don't even try. It's like I'm making free content for you already on YouTube. Alright, well, that's a good enough point to end the stream. Apologies for starting late, and apologies for you know, not being super awake at the beginning. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can support me via the link down below for Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a gift card, or gift me a game off my wishlist, or just gift me a game you'd like to see me cover. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.